Let me tell you about a woman who was called a liar. She was shamed in public. She was chased away from the village square like a thief. Why? Because she said she was carrying Ejike's baby. His family laughed at her. They said she was trying to trap their son. They said the baby was not his. They called her names until she left crying. That was many years ago. Before Ejike became the richest man in the city. Before his name was written on every building. Before everyone wanted to be close to him. Before governors and chiefs came to his house for advice. Before young men looked up to him and wanted to be like him. This is her story. A story of pain, truth, and justice that came slowly but surely. If you're watching this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're watching my folktale story from. I want to know how far it has traveled. Ejike was a young man from a poor home. But he was very smart. He was hard-working. He helped his mother sell firewood in the market. He studied under the lamplight at night. His family had nothing but pride. They believed their name was more important than money. They told everyone they came from good blood. Even when hunger knocked on their door, they held their heads high. Ejike wanted to change things. He dreamed of building a big house for his mother. He wanted to send his younger ones to school. But he had no power yet. He was just a boy with big dreams and empty pockets. His father had died when he was young, so he became the man of the house too early. He carried responsibilities that were too heavy for his age. But he never complained. He kept pushing forward. One day, a girl named Adise came to Ejike's house. She was shaking. Her eyes were full of tears. She told Ejike's mother that she was pregnant. And that Ejike was the father. Ejike did not deny it. He stood there quietly. He knew it was true. But his family exploded with anger. His mother shouted. His uncles insulted Adise. They said she was a witch. They said she wanted to spoil their son's future. They said the baby was not Ejike's. Adise begged them to believe her. But they dragged her out of the compound. Ejike said nothing. He was afraid. Afraid of disappointing his family. Afraid of being poor forever. Afraid that if he supported Adise, his family would abandon him. He watched her leave crying and did nothing. That silence would haunt him for many years to come. After that day, Adise became the enemy of the village. People whispered when she walked past. They said she lied about Ejike. They said she wanted money. Even her own family turned their backs on her. They said she brought shame to their name. Her father stopped speaking to her. Her mother cried every day. They told her to leave the house. She cried every night. She had no one to help her. Ejike tried to visit her secretly. He brought her a little money. But his family found out. They beat him. They told him to stay away from her. They said if he followed her, they would disown him. So Ejike stopped going. He chose his family over the truth. And Adise was left alone to carry the shame and the baby. She moved to a small room at the edge of the village where no one would see her. Adise gave birth to a baby boy. She named him Chitty. She raised him by herself. She sold vegetables in the market. She washed clothes for rich women. She did everything to make sure Chitty ate every day. People still whispered about her. But she did not care anymore. She focused on her son. She sang to him at night. She told him stories. She made sure he smiled even when she was crying inside. Meanwhile, Ejike left the village. He went to the city to look for work. He wanted to become somebody. He told his family he would send money home. He promised to make them proud. His family was happy. They forgot about Adise and the baby. They told everyone that Ejike was going to be great. And they were right. But they did not know the price they would pay for denying the truth. Truth does not die. It only waits. Years passed like slow rain. Ejike worked very hard in the city. He sold things on the street. He carried heavy loads. He slept in small rooms with many people. He saved every coin. He did not waste money on pleasure. He only thought about success. He worked day and night without rest. Sometimes he went to bed hungry so he could save more money. He did jobs that other people refused to do. He cleaned toilets. He washed cars. He did not care about pride anymore. He only cared about making it. Back in the village, Adiz raised Chitty quietly. She taught him to read and write. She told him to respect everyone. She never spoke badly about Ejike. She only said his father was a good man who was far away. Chitty grew up smart and kind. He asked about his father sometimes. But Adiz would smile sadly and say nothing more. The village slowly forgot the scandal. But truth does not forget. It waits. One day, news came to the village. Ejike had become rich. Very rich. He owned big companies in the city. He built houses and sold them. He had many workers. He drove expensive cars. People said he owned land in 3 different cities. They said even white men came to do business with him. The village could not believe it. The same boy who sold firewood was now a powerful man. His family danced with joy. His mother cooked a feast. His uncles went around telling everyone they always knew Ejike would be great. They said it was in his blood. They said they raised him well. They said they sacrificed everything for him. Everyone wanted to visit Ejike's family now. People brought gifts. They wanted to be remembered when Ejike came home. His family suddenly became important in the village. Chiefs greeted them. Women envied them. Children were told to be like Ejike. Ejike returned to the village like a king. He brought bags of money. He bought land. He built a big house for his mother. The house had tiles and big windows. It had a generator and a borehole. He gave his uncles new motorcycles. He paid school fees for his younger ones. He bought wrappers for the women. He gave the elders drinks and money. The whole village gathered to thank him. They sang his name. They called him their son. His family stood beside him smiling. They told stories about how they suffered to train him. They said they never doubted him. They said they knew he would be great from the day he was born. Ejike smiled, but his heart was heavy. He remembered Adiz. He remembered the baby. He asked his mother about them quietly. She hissed and waved her hand. She said that matter was long finished. She told him to forget it and focus on his future. But Ejike could not forget. One evening, he went to the market. He saw a young boy selling oranges. The boy looked exactly like him. Same eyes. Same smile. Same way of standing. Even the way he talked reminded Ejike of himself when he was young. Ejike's heart stopped. He asked the boy his name. The boy said, "Chitty, sir." Ejike asked where his mother was. Chitty pointed to a woman frying akara nearby. It was Adiz. She had grown older. Her hands were rough from work. Her face had lines from years of struggle. But her face was still strong. Her eyes still had fire in them. When she saw Ejike, she froze. Their eyes met. Years of pain passed between them in silence. All the tears. All the shame. All the lonely nights. Ejike's throat felt tight. He wanted to speak but words failed him. Chitty watched them both, confused. He did not understand why this rich man was staring at his mother. Ejike left the market that day feeling like a man carrying stones. He could not sleep. He could not eat. His family noticed but said nothing. They were too busy enjoying his money. They were planning how to spend it. They were fighting over who should get what. Ejike began visiting Chitty secretly. He bought him books. He paid his school fees. He gave Adiz money for the house. He bought her a new stove. He fixed her roof. But he did it quietly. He was still afraid of his family. Afraid of what people would say. Afraid that the village would judge him. But the truth was growing legs. People began to notice. They saw how Chitty looked like Ejike. They saw the rich man visiting the poor woman's house. They whispered. They asked questions. Soon the whole village was talking again. And this time, Ejike's family could not run from it. The truth was coming home. And it was coming with power. Ejike's mother called him one night. She was angry. Her voice was shaking. She asked him why he was visiting that woman and her son. She said people were talking. She said it would spoil his reputation. She said people were laughing at them behind their backs. She said after all they did to raise him, this was how he repaid them. His uncles joined her. They surrounded him in the sitting room. They said Adiz was trying to trap him again. They said the boy was not his problem. They said he should focus on his real family. The family that suffered for him. Ejike listened quietly. Then he spoke. His voice was calm but firm. He said Chitty was his son. He said he knew it from the beginning. He said they all knew it too. His family went silent. His mother's face turned red. She tried to argue. But Ejike raised his hand. He said he was tired of living a lie. He said the time for hiding was over. He said money had given him power, and he would use it for truth. The next day, Ejike did something that shocked everyone. He called a meeting in the village square. He invited the elders. He invited his family. He invited everyone who remembered the scandal. He sent his driver to announce it in every compound. People came because they were curious. They wondered what the rich man wanted to say. Some thought he was going to give them money. Others thought he was going to build something for the village. When everyone gathered, Ejike stood up. He held Chitty's hand. The boy stood beside him confused but proud. Ejike told the whole story. He said yes, Adiz was pregnant for him years ago. He said yes, his family denied it and chased her away. He said yes, he was too weak to stand up for the truth. He said he let an innocent woman suffer because he was afraid. The crowd gasped. His family tried to interrupt. But the elders told them to be quiet and let him finish. Ejike continued speaking. His voice was strong now. He said Chitty was his firstborn son. He said Adiz suffered alone because of his silence. He said his family chose pride over truth. He said money did not make him a man. But accepting his mistakes did. He apologized to Adiz in front of everyone. He knelt down before her. People had never seen a rich man kneel before a poor woman. The crowd was silent. You could hear the wind blowing. Some women were crying. Others were nodding their heads. Adiz stood there with tears in her eyes. She did not speak. She only nodded. Her tears said everything. Then Ejike stood and held Chitty close. He told the village that from that day, Chitty would carry his name. He would inherit everything. He would be known as his son. No one could deny it again. The elders clapped slowly. They said Ejike was a true man. But Ejike's family sat frozen in shame. They could not look up. They could not speak. After the meeting, Ejike's family tried to fix things. His mother went to Adiz's house. She brought gifts. expensive wrappers, bags of rice. She said she was sorry. She said they could all live together now. She said Chitty was welcome in the family. She said they would treat him like their own. But Adise looked at her without smiling. She did not touch the gifts. She said forgiveness was free. But trust was earned. She told her that Chitty already had a family. She said for years they called her a liar. They called her son a bastard. Now that there was money, they wanted to be close. Ejike's uncles also came. They brought drinks and cola nuts. They said they always liked the boy. They said it was all a misunderstanding. They said they were only protecting Ejike. But Ejike saw through them. He knew they only came because of his money. He told them clearly. He would take care of his mother. But they had lost his respect. He would help them when needed. But they would never control him again. They left quietly with their heads down. Ejike moved Adise and Chitty into a new house. A beautiful house with a big gate and flowers in the compound. He gave Adise a business. He bought her a shop in the market. She started selling provisions and made good profit. He enrolled Chitty in the best school in the city. Chitty wore a clean uniform every day. He had new books and a school bag. His family watched from a distance. They were no longer close to him. They could no longer walk into his house anytime they wanted. People respected them less now. Because everyone knew the truth. They had denied an innocent woman. They had abandoned a child. All because of pride. Meanwhile, Chitty grew up knowing his father. He studied hard. He made his mother proud. He called Ejike Papa, and it made Ejike cry sometimes. Adise finally rested. She no longer carried shame. She carried her head high. Women who used to insult her now greeted her with respect. And Ejike learned that wealth means nothing if your heart is not clean. Truth always finds a way to come out. Always. No matter how long it takes. Chitty became a young man full of wisdom. He did not grow up bitter. Even though he knew the story of his birth, he did not hate anyone. He knew his father's family rejected him. He knew they called his mother terrible names. He knew they tried to destroy his life before it even started. But Adise had taught him forgiveness. She told him that anger is a heavy load. She said carrying it would only slow him down. She said some people act badly because they are afraid, not because they are evil. Chitty respected his father. But he loved his mother more than anything. He saw how she suffered. He saw how she stayed strong when everyone turned against her. He saw how she smiled even when she was broken inside. He promised himself that one day, he would take care of her the way she took care of him. Ejike watched his son with pride. He saw himself in Chitty. But he also saw something better. Chitty had courage. The courage Ejike did not have when he was young. The courage to stand for what is right no matter the cost. In the village, things changed slowly. Ejike's family tried to rebuild their name. But it was hard. People did not forget. When his uncles spoke at meetings, others would whisper and shake their heads. When his mother went to the market, women would glance at her and talk quietly. Some would greet her. Others would just walk past. She felt the weight of her choices every single day. It followed her like a shadow. One day, she went to Adise's house. She did not send a message. She just came and sat outside the gate. She waited under the hot sun. When Adise came out, she saw the old woman crying. Her wrapper was soaked with tears. Adise's first thought was to send her away. But something in her heart softened. She did not chase her away. She sat beside her on the bench. Ejike's mother said she was sorry. She said pride had blinded her. She said she destroyed many lives because she wanted to protect her son. But she only made things worse. She said she saw it now. Too late, but she saw it. Adiz listened quietly. She did not interrupt. She let the old woman cry and talk. When she was done, Adiz spoke. Her voice was soft but firm. She said forgiveness is not about forgetting. It is about letting go of the pain. She said she forgave them long ago. Because holding anger only hurt her. It did not hurt them. It only poisoned her own heart. But she also said trust is different. Trust must be earned with time. Trust is built with actions, not just words. You cannot destroy someone's life and then say sorry once and expect everything to be fine. Ejike's mother nodded. She understood. She did not ask to be close to Chitty. She did not ask for anything. She only asked for peace. Adiz agreed. From that day, the two women greeted each other with respect. They were not friends. They did not visit each other's homes. But they were no longer enemies. And that was enough. Slowly, the village began to heal. People stopped whispering so much. They saw that even broken things can be mended. If truth is allowed to breathe. If people are willing to admit their mistakes. Years went by. Chitty finished school. He was the best student in his class. Teachers loved him. His mates respected him. He went to the university. He studied business like his father. But he also studied law. He wanted to help people who had no voice. People like his mother. People who were pushed down by society. When he graduated, the whole village celebrated. It was like a festival. Ejike threw a big party. He slaughtered cows. He hired a band. He bought drinks for everyone. He invited everyone. Even his uncles came. They were older now. Slower. Their hair was gray. They had learned their lesson. They no longer acted like they owned Ejike. They no longer made demands. They greeted Chitty with respect. They called him by his name. Not that boy like before. Not the bastard like they used to whisper. Chitty shook their hands. He smiled at them. He did not hold grudges. He knew that bitterness only poisons the one who carries it. His mother taught him that. And he believed it with all his heart. Chitty started his own company. He became successful very quickly. People said he had his father's brain and his mother's heart. He was smart in business but kind to people. He built houses for poor families. He gave scholarships to children who could not pay school fees. He helped women start businesses. He gave them loans without interest. The village was proud of him. They said he was a true son of the land. They said his story proved that good character is more powerful than good birth. Ejike watched everything with joy. His chest swelled with pride every time he saw his son. One day, he told Adiz, "You raised him well. Better than I ever could." Adiz smiled. She said, "We both raised him. You gave him opportunity. I gave him character. Together, we gave him a future." And it was true. Chitty was the proof that even a painful beginning can lead to a beautiful ending. He was proof that shame can turn into glory. That rejection can turn into acceptance. That a child called a bastard can become a king. The village elders said his name would be remembered for generations. One day, Chitty called a family meeting. He invited his father, his mother, and even his father's family. Everyone was nervous. They did not know what he wanted to say. Some thought maybe he was angry. Others thought maybe he wanted to cut them off completely. When they all gathered in the big sitting room, Chitty stood up. He was calm. His voice was steady. He thanked his mother for everything. He said she was the strongest person he knew. He said without her, he would be nothing. He said she taught him how to stand when the world tried to push him down. Then he turned to his father. He thanked him for finally choosing truth. He said it takes courage to admit mistakes. He said his father could have stayed silent forever, but he chose to speak. Then he looked at his father's family. The uncles. The aunties. His grandmother. He did not scold them. He did not shout. He simply said, "I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." The room was silent. Some people cried. Others looked down in shame. But Chitty's words brought healing. Real healing. The kind that only truth and forgiveness can bring. Chitty continued. He said he was building a foundation. A foundation to help single mothers. Mothers like his own. Mothers who were shamed and abandoned. Mothers who society rejected because they got pregnant without a ring on their finger. He said the foundation would be named after his mother. The Adiz Foundation for Single Mothers. He said he would give them business training. He would pay school fees for their children. He would build shelters for those who had nowhere to go. He would give them a voice. A chance. A future. Everyone clapped. The sound filled the room. Adiz cried with joy. She covered her face with her wrapper. Ejike stood and hugged his son. He whispered, "You are greater than me." And it was true. Chitty had turned his pain into purpose. He did not waste time on revenge. He used his story to help others. That is the mark of a true leader. Someone who rises and pulls others up with him. The village had never seen anything like it. Young men wanted to be like him. Young women prayed for husbands like him. Ejike's mother lived long enough to see Chitty's foundation grow. She saw young women come broken and leave with hope. She saw children who had no fathers call Chitty uncle with pride. Before she died, she called Adiz to her bedside. Her body was weak. Her voice was shaking. She held Adiz's hand with her thin fingers and said, "I was wrong. You were the blessing I almost destroyed." Adiz squeezed her hand gently. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She said, "We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after." The old woman smiled and closed her eyes. She died peacefully that night. At her funeral, Chitty spoke. He said she was not perfect. But she learned. And that is all anyone can do. Learn and grow. Change before it is too late. He said she spent her last years trying to make peace. And that counted for something. The village respected him even more for his grace. He did not speak evil of the dead. He honored her memory while holding on to the truth. That is wisdom. Real wisdom. Today, Chitty is one of the most respected men in the city. He is known not just for his wealth, but for his character. His name opens doors. Governors call him for advice. Churches invite him to speak. Young people follow him on social media. People tell his story to their children. They say, "See what happens when you choose truth over pride." They say, "See what happens when you forgive." Adiz lives in peace. She has a beautiful house with a garden full of flowers. She runs a bakery. She mentors young women every Saturday. She teaches them how to bake. How to save money. How to raise children alone if they must. She is no longer the shamed girl from the village. She is a queen. A mother. A hero. Ejike is still alive. He is old now but strong. He works with his son. They sit together in the office and plan projects. He has learned that legacy is not just money. It is the lives you touch. The truth you stand for. The courage you pass down. And he is grateful. Grateful that truth gave him a second chance. Grateful that his son forgave him. So I ask you, what would you have done if you were a Jike? Would you have chosen your family's pride over the truth? Would you have had the courage to admit your mistake years later? Or would you have stayed silent forever and let shame bury an innocent woman? Think about it. Because life always gives us choices. And every choice has a consequence. Some consequences come quickly. Others come slowly. But they always come. What would you have done if you were Adese? Would you have forgiven the family that destroyed your name? Would you have let your son love the people who rejected him? Or would you have held on to bitterness until it killed you? These are not easy questions. But they are important. The story you have just heard is a beautiful African tale I heard long ago. I am telling you to wake your minds to the truth that silence in the face of injustice makes you part of the injustice. Pride can blind us, but truth will always find the light. Denying the truth may protect you today, but it will shame you tomorrow. If you were in this story, what would you choose? Truth or pride? Revenge or forgiveness? I want to know your opinion because every story is like a candle that can light the path for someone else. God bless you, and may courage guide your hands. Meanwhile, on the final screen, I am leaving you with one of the channel's most beloved folktales. I am sure you will love it. Thank you for staying with me until this moment.